We are back once again with another update for Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. This is another development blog, and we have seen a lot about the factions and we've been told a lot about the individual factions, but we're going into more detail in this one. We're focusing on one faction, and this is the Battanians. So sit back, relax and enjoy today's video on the Battanian faction for Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. So in the development blog, they talked about where they came from and where the inspiration came from. And from this, we can get a little bit more about the traits and how we're going to have to battle these Battanians or even play as them. Of course, they come from the misty hills of northwestern Calvadia. They are the masters of the longbow, which we did know before, the night raid and sudden wild charges out of the woods. Now this kind of refers to a lot of guerrilla warfare that's going to had to be played as the Battanian faction. You're going to be doing hit and run tactics a lot of the time, hiding in forest ambushes or fighting from afar with your longbows. There's not going to be many pitched battles. Now of course this sort of relates to the Celts or the Picts and things like that. There's some of the Irish and Welsh tribes as well from the early medieval era using this guerrilla warfare instead of pitched battles, because heavy infantry is great in a pitched battle, but if you can find the weaknesses and use guerrilla warfare to get around them, you can be victorious many times. A lot of their towns and cities are based on hilltops, and not only is this a cool scenic and aesthetic point, but it also integrates into the game as well. Of course, battling a hilltop, going and trying to climb up a mountain and then going into a fort is a lot harder than going into a flat standing fort. The defenders will also have the ability, the defenders, which will be the Battanians, will have the ability to rain down rocks and arrows on the attacking forces, and of course getting more range in there if you're on a hilltop. So it tells us a little bit about the terrain and the area of the place and the kind of tactics you're going to have to use for and against the Battanian faction. Now the king for the Battanians is King Caledog. He is partially inspired by a real life guy, and this is what I butcher the pronunciation, Grufford ap Llynfelen. Now he dominated much of Wales in the 11th century. It is said that he was a bit of a colourful figure, ruthless yet possessed with a wicked sense of humour. Now what I'm thinking is these character traits, as of course Caledog is inspired by this historical character, are these character traits going to integrate into the game as well with the renown system that we know? Will it be harder to persuade this guy? If this is what he's like, how will you get onto his side? And it also relates to all the other lords and kings in the games. Knowing their traits and their type of character will probably be very useful for gaining their trust and renown throughout the game. Now, it has been said on the blog that the Battanians aren't an efficient conquering machine like some of their neighbours, and I suggest they're talking about like the Empire forces and things like that with the big heavy cataphracts and armour, but they do have their own tactics and fightings wars which can be very effective if the player puts it to use in a way that favours the Battanian faction. Now it does talk a little bit about minor factions, and the minor faction, or the main minor faction if that makes sense, for the Battanians are called the Wolfskins. These are very much like hardcore Battanian guys, so they live in the woods, they do all that stuff, but this is a quote from the blog saying they eat no cooked meat, sleep under no roof and wear no woven clothing. So they are exempt from the laws of men. They try and live the lives of wolves, which this is actually based on a real life tribe as well, so it's nice that they're inspiring it in history. But that's a quick blog about the Battanian faction. Remember, I'll keep you up to date with all the blogs that come out. If you want to go and check the full blog out, there'll be a link in the description. Remember to stay subscribed for all the Bannerlord news as soon as it comes out, but until then, I will see you in the next one.